Mars. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
The Fireside Daily. Gathering around the fire. And how do we gather? Well, we gather in wonder.
Mm.
And so that today will be where we're in. It's like what does it mean to gather in wonder? And it's like if we're gathering in wonder, it's like there's a willingness. There's a willingness to look at ourselves and to only lightly point out things we hear with others. So this morning will be how we're working where we're the same. That's how we're gathering together, is we're working the same. What is the same as the genius that we are? It's like the genius comes from the passion and the purpose that is not clear for us. And what we practice here is yes, and is like to continue to expand, to keep things moving, because as we go out into the world, we are addicted to no. So we change that to be yes and. Oh, that's kind of how I think of that this morning as I open as we open the fireside. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so what I'll add to that is my experience of learning about structure has been enormously useful in finding my way. And that has increased my willingness, I would say, because things became clearer, not necessarily easier, but clearer. And that helped diminish the charge. So we had a beautiful example a couple of days ago, which I got the end result of, but I wanted to track back. And it was something that Will had worked with you, JC. And so my request is that Will, if he can, recapture what was the structure that JC pointed out, and how did you then manage to, or how and what did you manage to shift it to? Because it was so useful for you.
Cool. Thanks, Allison. Yeah. So today it's October 9th, 2024. So that would have been Monday, October 7th, 2024. And I believe the replay is on the Genius Intel channel on YouTube. So that should be available. But yeah, just to recap what happened Monday. The structure that I was in was this mindset of stress and like basically I'm gonna go do my day is what I said. Something like that to Jesse. He noticed it and he acknowledged it, right? And it was really helpful to recognize that in the moment that I'm starting the day off in like panicked and stressed out and like I got to get this big job done. And I have to get it done in one day was my mentality.
Mm.
Yeah. So it was a very stressful psychological structure state that I was in because I was framing the day as this has to be done today. And
Mm.
Jesse really shined a light on that, and he helped me realize um, possibility of something different. He helped me to come to that conclusion. And once I drew that conclusion, I'm like, wait a sec. What if what if I kind of mentally created a bit of a game plan to make it the day, to look at the day like, I could do this. It's not a big deal. And it got lighter. And then what actually
Mm.
happened was, because my state shifted so much and my perspective shifted so much, the structure changed.
Mm.
And it was just open to possibility. And it was in a very relaxed, joyful state that day. I show up at the client's house and they're like, yeah, would you actually be able to do the windows as well? I'm like, yeah, no problem. I could come back tomorrow. I didn't have anything booked on Tuesday. So I'm like, okay, I'll come back tomorrow. And you know what? If I don't get this done today, I'll just finish it up on Tuesday and then do the windows. And they're like, yeah, no problem. That's great. Thank you. So I actually ended up generating more income, and I had two easier days than if I would have just head down like a bull,
Yeah.
focusing and struggling and fighting through it. The structure changed. And not only that, but another client called or messaged me and asked if I can come and do some windows this week, or when I would be available. And I said Thursday. She's like, great. So I ended up actually booking a little more extra income this week, which is nice.
Very
And so
nice.
everything changed when the structure changed, the inner perspective and the opening to possibility. Everything
Yes.
shifted in reality.
Yes.
Bit of a long-winded explanation, but
Mm. No, but for me, what was valuable about that was a step by step, right?
yeah.
And we often need that step by step. Uh, so that's what I enjoyed about it. And thank you for reminding me where you were and then where you got to. And I think somewhere in there for me is the reminder of the amount of responsibility that we carry at times, forgetting, we totally forget that we co-create with the universe. Our willingness is our responsibility, for sure. But the rest is a co-creation. And I think when we remember that, we drop the charge of the have to, and we open it to the could. That could happen. And I think then our capacity for presence is broadened and widened. So I'll share that. That's been a little bit of my experience, is that awareness. That all I need to do is put my energy to my willingness.
For
Beautiful.
willingness. That's Willingness is when we say yes and. Thank you for that
Mm,
connection.
mm,
Mm.
definitely.
It's a higher vibration.
Mm, I think.
Yeah, because we're unwilling when we say no. And the third segment of this gathering, right, is that we say yes and even when we disagree.
Mm,
So we're addicted to no. It's just been noticing how often you say no in a day.
mm,
Now, not doesn't have to be a no out loud. It doesn't have to be the same words no. It just notice it, what you say no to, what you object to, what you resist. And when
that's right.
you move it to, oh, I can say yes and what it just like will, it gives so much more choice to it.
Yeah.
And choice is space. And all we are as beings is movement in space. And it's like a charge. So there's the charge and the movement through space, through time. Uh, so I heard that Will is like, welcome the rest of you. I'll get to you. I'll join you. I'll kind of update you. It's like as we're fireside, we're gathering in wonder. Oh, how do we gather? Oh, we gather the same. We gather the same, as the same. And here it's like with the same structure. Like we all are like have a structure, but they're specifically different. And it's conditioned, like we're conditioned to say no is the structure. And it was like, and another one with work is like hard work equals more money. That's kind of like a structure.
Yes.
Yep.
And as Allison, you so brilliantly put it, is like there was like, oh, I have to do this. And it's like that's one of the red flags. It's like, well, I
Mhm.
have to. It's like, well, you're not even giving yourself a choice, Will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And part of like as I replay this story with that, Will, you know, it just the day felt heavy as you explained it. And it's
Oh,
like,
it
okay,
was. Yeah.
how do we make it lighter?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what the end result of our gathering here, right? The end result of our gathering is so that we scatter lighter, brighter, and we scatter that. We take it with us wherever we go. So that's like where we start. That's why this is so important. And like, what is my end result? What is my like purpose for this? Is that every hour there's a campfire running
Mm,
Mm. Yes. Yeah. Around the world,
around the world,
groups of campfires,
groups of
campfire chats.
campfires where
Oh, I
people
love it.
where people can join, right? Belong. And we can
We've got a bunch of OGs here.
mhm. So well, it was like the middle one here. It's like they're the same and yes and or the willingness. And it's like right in the middle is the breakthrough. And so that's what we do in between. So we gather, we break through, and we scatter. And so, Will, thank you for sharing your breakthrough.
Oh yeah. Thank you for creating the safe space to be vulnerable and share our experience,
Mm,
because it really embraces courage.
mm,
it does.
Because, I was apprehensive of that day And I was like downright fearful of it. But
Right.
then the courage, that the possibility, and the to even just look at the possibility takes courage, especially, with a group of people or live on YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that, this is going on to the internet. So it does take courage to be vulnerable.
Yes.
But yeah, the gift of in within that, it's like it just totally shifted my day. It shifted my week.
Yep.
And
And you made more money.
yeah, true
You
that. I
made
got,
more money.
and I got to serve my clients joyfully. I got back to who is Will.
Mm.
Will is actually a joyful being. I remember when we
That
kind
is
of first,
priceless.
yeah, I remember how, like in the beginning, when you really first started these fireside chats, or fireside um, whatever it is you're calling it, sorry. Back in 2022, you you called yourself Happy Jesse. And I'm like, I really like that. I'm going to try that on. So I'm like, I'm Happy Will. And we started to come to be known for that because we created that. But it's like, that's who we really are. That's actually who we are. We are actually joy. We just
Yep.
forget because we get caught up in, oh, I got to do my day. It takes the joy right out of it. I get to do my day, or I get to just be happy and enjoy my day no matter what happens. It's a choice.
Thank you, Will. Hello, Pascal Hines.
Hey, morning, guys.
Morning, Jesse.
Good morning, good afternoon,
Good morning, Pascal.
morning,
Yoga's in the
morning.
house.
Yeah, I was just going to
Big
say,
Hefe,
got Yoda
Hefe,
back.
Hefe Yoga. Yoda's in the house.
Yoda.
Yoda's in the house. He is.
Good to have you back, Pascal.
Yeah,
How's your
thank you.
course going, Pascal? Or your education, or what is it called?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad.
Pascal,
Um,
or how to do everything, right? Isn't it? Wouldn't it be? Is it appropriate to say it's like they're telling you how to do everything?
yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Thanks.
For the most part, yeah, absolutely. And so I was job shadowing for, now it's been what, like 3 days? Yeah, 3 days of job shadowing. And it's good. Like, well, my mentor, you would say, like he's a very calm guy, right? And I love it. Like it's just a really different, like he's been there for a long time, but that doesn't mean anything. It just, he doesn't stress with things. It's so good to see. And then another foreman, he's just like all over the place, right? He's trying to control the whole board, right? But he doesn't have to be, he cannot be at every single spot, right? But like he's just like, okay, I'm gonna move this guy, I'm gonna move this guy, I'm gonna move this guy, and then it's all gonna work out. And then guy gets stressed out, and then they make mistakes, and then like he end up. So like just for example, we had to clean up like two hydraulic fluid mess, and the guys twice, and it was on Tuesday, same area. Um, they didn't notice the leak for about 50 houses, and it's very interesting to see because you know, and he's known to be capital leak. but like when I'm, because everything is, it's a kind of a lesson, right? Like something that it's an opportunity to learn from, to maybe move your feeling from, and all that. And then you can see him, like, because I saw him twice doing the exact same thing. And I know because he's not really learning from what he's doing, or maybe a little bit, but he's not really moving the needle. And yeah, it's really interesting to see. And then you got my mentor, and then like one guy just like he just says like, "Oh, I can't work today anymore. Like truck broke down, but like I'm sick." So, and then he's got this whole map like to cover, and like he's like, "Yeah, okay, just go talk to the boss and see what happened, right?" And then like so, he does his due diligence. He's dividing like the map like to give like a little portion to every drivers. But then all the other like foremen, they're like, yeah, we gotta help, we gotta help, we gotta help. And he end up like pretty much not giving any work to his driver. you know? So it's like it's so funny. And it's a good learning. But in class is the only thing I really enjoyed it was the emotional intelligence. That portion I quite liked it. But the rest, yeah, like Jesse says, it's all a to-do list, right? How to do things. So
It's like that emotional intelligence, right? Is the being aspect,
mhm.
right? Everything else, it's like the doing, and it's like in work. We've been adding a little bit more of awareness to the being, but slowly and cautiously, because doing is so important, which to me, it's backwards. That's been my experience.
Yeah.
And that will determine the structure then, Jess.
It sure does. Thank you, Allison. And it's like it was like how we talked about earlier. It's like it's like you're holding so tightly to this slippery bar, like trying to hold on to it, right? It's like, yeah, and just you don't want to drop it, right? You just don't want to let it go. And then you're like, whoa, I realize how much I'm holding tightly to this that I don't like. I'm holding so tightly to what I don't like.
Yeah. Yeah.
What if, so here's the willingness. What if I let that go? That is a breakthrough. And like the doing, here's like the doing, there's infinite ways of doing and only a few effective ways of being. And so
yeah,
like we are all like the same. What I'm looking at, the same is at the fundamental level where we're the same beings. And then as we drop down closer to the specific individual, right, like their behaviors will be different, but it's because of the same structures. Yeah, Pascal, great example of between, oh, this manager's chill and this manager's micromanaging it all.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, but do you see they're each holding on to their way?
Mm-hmm.
Not right or wrong.
Yeah.
It just is. Oh, and Pascal gets to, I'm gonna like the automatic is pass, it's like as a shadow, you get to like see it real life as an observer. That's what we're doing, is to just observe what our automatics are, what our resistance is, what we're holding so tightly to that it has to be this way. So
And
that we
the other
can,
part, oh, sorry, you go ahead.
oh, I was going to say, just so that we can break through, which is to see it, let it go, and move through it. Don't avoid it. Don't fight it. Don't resist it. Thank you, Pascal.
Yeah, and the other part I've seen from my mentor, like he put me in the fire, right? And then like, but he expect me like to be as good as him. That's the thing, right? So he's got that other facet. Like he's
Yep.
really calm. Like he's super like organized, extremely organized guy. And like I learned so much from him
Yeah.
just from that.
He's got clarity.
Yeah.
That's
But
what
then
it
like
is.
yeah, and then like, you know, he says, okay, yeah, you're gonna do this. Like I had to fill out a form. Never done it, right? And then I'm not like a really savvy on the computer. I'm okay, you know, but not. He's like, okay, right click there, da 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 da, and then I'm like searching all my buttons and stuff, right?
That's me, Pascal.
But then like he's like, you can see like he doesn't have that much patience in that area, you know? But he's got a lot of patience with himself because he knows how he is. But say with the guys, he wouldn't be so patient, right? Like he expect that like job gets done like this and it's like this, whatever, right? But yeah, it's really interesting, like to be the observer and like look at all, right? And kind of find your groove in there. Cause like the first couple of days, I would say, you know, even though like I worked there like about 7 years ago, like the whole staff changed. And then like I'm like, I'm kind of lost here. Like, where do I fit in? Right.
Mm.
But
Mm.
now like slowly, I'm like, okay, yeah, I know my area. It's like I know how one foreman's acting, the other foreman, you know, because I can tell like the guy that's micromanaging, he would be very patient with me. You know, I can tell he's like he's willing to like oh show me like everything he knows. But like in the same time, I don't want to micromanage, right? So it's like it's to find the right balance.
Mm.
Yeah, it is. And that for me, that's what I see in that, Pascal, is what I was talking about earlier, was how much responsibility we take instead of remembering that we co-create, you know, and that when we allow that co-creation, we get much further, and our impact is wider and it's richer. I think that need for control has got a lot to do with you know, our incorrect assumption that we have to do everything. And a large part of that is the ego, right? The ego, you know, for protection, right, and safety. So I think that's where it starts, it kind of originates, and then it just stays. That pattern stays there.
It's like the masculine action, eh?
Yeah.
The belief that I must do it for it.
Yeah.
I must do this or do that or whatever.
Yeah. And I think part of it also is that we have to, I use the word have to. Okay. So part of it is, I'll go, the willingness again to be present if it fails according to us at that moment in time, that there's a failure at that moment in time. I mean, so you guys know that we moved, and there's no ways in which I could have done the move with my physical capacity, and my husband had injured himself as well. And I mean, even before, I think I started with this process about 9 months ago with real intention. Every day, I held the intention of, there's stuff that I need to do, and there's and then there's a whole lot of stuff that I have no control of whatsoever. But if I keep my awareness of what's going on, I can find a way with it. And the awareness was paramount, I think, because that's how I could then see different opportunities. And when we landed up with the movers, initially the truck was too small, and then they came with a truck that was so big that everybody thought, well, okay, everything can just get packed up and put into the truck. And I didn't want everything to be packed up and put into the truck. Half of the stuff I wanted to go to donation. So, so in the end, I'm left with my bedroom that hasn't been sorted out because I'm trying to stop the movers from putting boxes in that they shouldn't be putting in. And so I sat, after they left, I sat down on the lawn, and I thought, oh, what am I going to do? Like, this is never going to fit into my car. And took me an hour to kind of think it through. And then I found a solution because of somebody else's willingness to help. I had to ask for it. But it worked out in an amazing way. Really, really, really amazing. I mean, the whole move was, moving is stressful. And sure, my body was stressed for sure, no doubt. And I'm, still kind of recovering. But I had a very open and appreciative, more than, it was gratitude and appreciation. And that was my experience of the move. And that's because I didn't, I reminded myself, you can't control all of this. It's absolutely impossible. You can't do it. So don't even, you can get your end result eventually, but you can't do it on your own. Because that's my kind of tendency with the fight, right? I have to fight this. And God forbid if I'm not right.
There's our saying. It's like culturally, there's this saying, we're equally like we're conditioned to say no, number one. Number two, what you'll notice is that first couple of things you learned is mine.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go around mine, and it's like attaching, that's mine, and yours. So, and that's yours, and that's yours. Do you see the separation? So it's like mine is, yes, when I'm right, I'm going to fight to be right. So it's like those are the same patterns. that we all have. We have versions of them, different degrees. They might take different words, but it's the same structure. And here I like recap your story, Allison, because we were in it with you. And so it was like 9 months, whole 9 months. There wasn't any real like movement or action that you could see, like an observer could see of you doing anything about moving uh, until about 8 months. So it was like you were working in your space in of the being. You were working the being for 8 months preparing for your move, which took the last 1 month. That was where all the action took place. Like meaning the movement.
Mm. Yeah.
And that only happened, like that movement only happened when you and I had a conversation and you said, it was like month 8 at like right at the end. And you said, I'm at the end of my rope. It's not moving.
Yeah.
I can't find a place. Why? Why couldn't you find a place? Well, first of all, one, because the one you were meant for wasn't available yet.
Mm.
Yet you wanted to push it faster, harder.
Well, we were running out of time, right?
Mm.
Did you?
That was your perspective.
Yeah.
Well,
But
from our landlord's perspective.
mhm, mhm.
Ah, well, if you had run out of time, you wouldn't have moved. So you didn't run out of time. It was just a perspective.
Yeah.
It's like
They-
you wanted sort of unknown to learn humility and gratitude. Well, like he says in that movie where Morgan Freeman is God, do you think God will just give it to you? Or do you think he'll present a possibility for you where you can get it?
Mm. Mm. For sure. Yeah.
And the possibility presented itself because with the moving truck, and all of a sudden you had all your in your bedroom left, and you had to be humble and grateful to ask somebody for help, and whoops, you got the experience.
Yeah, that gratitude and appreciation started way before that
Yeah, I
moment.
know way before, but that was sort of the final piece of it.
Yeah, probably was. I didn't think of it like that, but it probably was. Yeah,
You
that was
created
the
your
final
own
piece of the
situation.
move. Put it that way.
Yeah, you created your own situation. You're a co-creator, but you
Mm.
needed to do certain things yourself
Yes,
to get
absolutely.
there.
That's why it's a co-creation. It's not up to somebody
Yeah.
else, right?
No,
And
we are part of it, no matter what.
that's right. Yeah.
All right,
I think
guys.
it's just
It was quite a pleasure
that's
to be with you guys this morning. I
Oh,
gotta go in class now.
All
I
right.
gotta
okay,
get
yes.
tell what
you
to
have
do.
Have
take
fun,
care in class.
Have
Pascal.
fun, yoga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a good day, guys.
Yoga. I mean, Yoda.
Bye.
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 Bye, Pascal. I mean, ultimately, it's like everyone just loves to be told what to do.
Yeah.
So you think of that. It's like we go to work, right? And they quote train us. They tell us what to do, and yet subconsciously we're all running away from it.
We're all fighting it.
We're all telling you to go yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you're wrong. I'm right. Look, I'm right. I know what to do. I'm right. Is that willingness?
It's the toddler's creed.
That's mine.
Yeah.
I just
How dare
feel
you
that.
tell me what to do?
Just feel the energy that's in mine.
Mine, 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 mine.
I mean, it's like you're taking it from there and you're pulling it in. No wonder we think everything comes from out there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like mine. I just feel like a giant, like I've got this giant machine that I'm just reaching out there and grabbing all the crap I can and just pulling it in. Mine.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Mine
You
as
say
mining.
that
opposed to
all the
ours.
problems will also
Mining.
be yours.
I'm mining. I'm mining.
Yep.
I've got a contract, therefore your money is mine.
But your
I've got a land title,
problems is
therefore
also
this
yours.
land is mine.
Yep.
Oh, but you just died. Oh, I guess it's not yours, is it? It's going to someone else now. What is mine? This body, maybe, and even that is it really yours? Just like
Right. It is. It's
that.
like mine,
It's a
and
toddler.
that mine is the attachments.
Yeah.
They're
And it's
conditional attachments that give us no space. We all have them. We just have specific versions to our lives, to our experience.
not freedom. It's actually
No,
a prison.
it is.
It's
Yep.
a slavery.
Yep. That
And
can
the
be
minds of
broken through.
yeah, exactly. The minds of humankind are enslaved to this system of beliefs, this system of belief systems BS. This is mine, that's mine. So true. Thank you for shining a light on that, Jesse. We just keep reminding each other of
Yep.
the insanity of
Yep.
the belief systems.
The other place we do it is like if we're in the Fireside Daily, right? Daily Fireside, right? And we're gathering in wonder, and in underneath that is the same, genius, yes and, or willingness, right? And so it's like the same is same equal. It's like the same structure, right? Creates the life that we have. So it's like we're all in a structure. That's the fundamental point. Specifically, they're all different. But there's some culturally norms in there that we've been pointing out. And it's like,
Challenge
first of
those
all,
cultural norms.
yep, the beliefs.
You're going to get pushback. You're going to get resistance from others.
Yep.
They will push back, like the monkeys metaphor. They're going to pull you down. So, are you climbing out to your freedom? Or are you attempting to? Well,
Oh, Will, that is such a wonderful story.
yeah, it's just such a good metaphor.
Of like how, as a child, we have created the out there affects what's in here. If you wouldn't mind just sharing that again.
Out there is what affects. Well, I kind of look at it like there's our inner world, then there's the outer world. So we have a system of beliefs in our inner world based on past experiences. So our inner representation, our inner reality manifests in the outer world. And we look through this lens of belief systems that we have formed and that we bought into as a young child. But then we actually manifest it because we're looking through this lens of this limitation, this inner paradigm that we created. And there's a lot of cultural norms that we take on as, oh, this is how it is, this is reality. And then we contribute to that reality. And if anyone dares step outside that reality and goes for freedom, we drag them back down into the cultural norm that we are all participating in.
Mm.
And so we all have the possibility to break free from that paradigm.
And the structure, right?
Yeah, the structure, exactly. And so we can
Paradigm and
shift
structure
within,
is so
and when we shift within, then the without, like when we shift the internal, then the external shifts. That's the breakthrough. Like Wayne Dyer said, right? Like when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than pulling down people who are talking about freedom and happiness and joy and love and possibility, rather than pulling them down, they're giving us the possibility of lifting us up. So that possibility always exists for each one of us.
Mm.
I'm complete.
Oh, thank you. Now, would you share the experiment with the monkeys in the cage? So we're talking like, because this experiment explains us as children going for what we want, and then something happens, right? And we don't get it, or unable to get it. The grocery store, simple example. We go to the grocery store, we want something from there, we can't have it. Mom tells us no, dad tells us no. See, there's no again, right? We get told no like 10 times more than we do each yes. Like we get 10 no's to each yes. It might not be that many, it might be 5. Point is, we're addicted to no.
Mhm.
So, Will, would you mind sharing that story again? You shared it on Monday, I think.
Well, today about the monkey,
Yeah.
like what
Oh,
was
it
that?
was me.
Probably back in the 50s or 60s or something. Like it was decades ago when they would do experiments with animals and test, they did a scientific experiment where they put a bunch of monkeys in a cage or baboons or, whatever. And they put, there was an exit at the top of this cage. They had to actually climb out the top and climb up this ladder out this hole at the top to get out. And they put, not even necessarily get out, but they hung a bunch of bananas up there to entice them to come up. And, if you want the bananas, they're right here. Come and get them. So what they also set up was a water cannon that would spray the monkeys with really cold water if they tried to climb up and out or get the bananas. So, one monkey would try it, get sprayed, and he would, kind of freak out and go back down into the cage. And then another one would try it, and they started learning, like, don't go up there, just don't, because I know you can see the bananas, but don't go there because you're going to get soaked with ice cold water. And so what happened was the scientists started to change out the monkeys. So they would introduce a new one, and then they would automatically be like, hey, there's bananas, let's go get them. And the other monkey would start to scream and yell and claw and pull the other monkey down and go, no, like they're basically saying, no, we don't do that. We don't do that. They're there, but we don't go there. And eventually all the monkeys got changed out to where none of the monkeys had been sprayed with water, but the group kept pulling them down, and eventually no one tried to climb up, get the bananas anymore at all. None had been sprayed because the group belief, became, we do not do that. We just don't do that. There's freedom right there. There's bananas there. We could get out of this right now, but we don't do that. So I don't know. I just kind of probably butchered that one, but that's my own perspective of that story and that metaphor.
The conditioning, right?
Yeah.
The conditioning, right? It's like the monkeys that have the experiences like our parents.
Mm. Mm.
Right?
And in my case, how I was as a parent, often. My daughter grew up with a lot of, be careful of that, don't do that, don't ever do that, you have to do this.
Yep. Don't.
Yeah.
Don't. And when you say don't to a child who is in their unconscious mind, all they hear is do.
Yes, and or they become very anxious about, following through with the don't. They take on enormous responsibility.
Mm-hmm. So massive inner conflict.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a recipe for failure.
Oh,
Don't.
it's a
That
total
one word.
recipe for failure. Yeah.
You're not allowed.
And if we just realize all we need to do is just take a little bit more time and say, well, if you do that, this could happen and that could happen. So just, be careful how you do it. That's very different to saying don't.
That take reasoning, which is level 400 on the power versus force chart. It's a higher vibration to be reasonable and to reason with someone.
Yeah, and to give choice, right?
Mm-hmm. And allow them to have that, draw that conclusion by reasoning with someone.
Yeah.
In this case, a child. You're really teaching them to
Mm-hmm.
make their own choices, not just to do as I say.
That's right. So you've got to model it. That's real teaching.
Yeah.
And I didn't do enough of that. Nowhere near enough.
This life is so short and so fast that we don't, like, just the structure that we came from is this chain, this long, who knows how many thousands or however many years, this chain of ancestry that of this paradigm, and we're now waking up to it, and it just takes time to shift that one by one, person by person, as we wake up, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone does the best they can and with what information they do have in the moment. And then we all have also the structure from memory one, like the monkeys.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we just don't go there. We just don't do that. That's not who we are as a species. We fight, we judge, we war, we play the victim, and then we play the hero, and we also play the perpetrator.
That's right.
That's what we do as a species. That's just who we are. And
It's part
Is
of
that
who we are.
is that true though? That's one perspective that has been continuing
Exactly.
for thousands of years, or there's a possibility of something different.
Yep.
It takes each individual to draw that conclusion for themselves. You can't tell them, "Oh, stop fighting, stop fighting." What's that a recipe for? As within, so without.
Mhm.
I've been like going to war with my neighbors for years,
Mhm.
playing the victim. Like, stop fighting, or choose a new reality, choose peace, choose compassion. Forgive, give love. You don't even necessarily have to vocalize it. You can give it energetically. We can, I can, I get to.
Mhm.
It's a possibility that exists. When I'm caught up in, oh, they're doing this to me, or they're doing that to me, I'm just playing the victim. I'm just buying into the old paradigm, the old monkey paradigm. And it just continues to perpetuate war. Within, war within, war without. That's the structure, or that has been the structure. Until I woke up and go, oh, wait a second, I'm awake. What am I doing? Who am I being? I'm being an a-hole. Stop it. Even if I'm not acting out in, well, the actions always tend to follow based on the inner structure.
So I wonder, what is that spark?
Oh, what spark?
The spark that engages our imagination. I wonder what that really is. How does that
Creative
happen?
spark?
Sorry, Will?
You mean the creative spark?
Mm, yeah, I guess it could be the creative spark, but I was thinking, what is it that happens when we start to engage our imagination, which is the creative spark? Like, what is that ingredient?
Willingness.
It's yes and.
Uh-huh. Here we go.
I sort of stole that one from watching Soul yesterday.
Oh,
He
tell
knew
us more,
exactly
Heinz.
You
his
watched
his
it, eh?
spark was, yep, his spark was being a musician. But after
That's
been to the soul world and helped a new young soul actually find its way by its entering his body and everything, he realized when he got back that maybe music was just the spark he was giving. So now he would actually just enjoy life to the fullest. It doesn't have a conclusion in the end, what he wants to do with his life. He just want to live each day to the fullest.
Oh,
But
that sounds beautiful.
all of our souls are giving a sort of spark for being good with food, being obnoxious, whatever. I really like the way they were showing how souls were giving from the start, but that was just a sort of not your blueprint. It was just a blueprint they gave you, like
Yeah.
going to school up there and learning something. But you could actually choose to switch it by choice, by yes and seeing the possibility. He didn't even knew if he wanted to be a musician afterward. I really like that. I like the ending because it's sort of just opens all possibilities.
It sounds like an amazing show. Was it a show or was it a
Well, it's
program?
an animated. It was on Will suggested. Its name is Soul.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus.
Okay.
Disney Pixar
Yeah.
made it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's
great
when I
animation.
first saw. Thank you for the feedback on that too, Heinz.
Yeah,
when I
that's
first saw
so.
that, it was just so emotional. Like it just got me to the core so much that the tears were just like flowing.
And for
Absolutely
once, they didn't
incredible movie.
spend all the money on how it was created. It was more the story it was about this time. And because Pixar is normally really, really high definition and everything, but this one is sort of more like, whoa, they can actually do it with the story. That's what's been missing in movies and everything now, because everything is just like just gotta be really good effects and everything. But they lost sort of what they did in the 80s and 90s with great stories, but not that much effects.
My favorite character on that was the sign spinner guy. Wasn't he hilarious? Oh my goodness, that was awesome.
Yeah. He was in his own zone when he was spinning. He was meditating. Actually, while spinning, that was when he was in the zone, just spinning a sign around and warning people that 50% off. That was his meditative state.
Yeah, he's just like in pure bliss.
Yep. Ooh, a new person, and I don't know who it is.
1 + 8.
That's 9.
Welcome, 1 + 8.
Welcome, welcome.
Hello, beautiful people.
It's G.
Oh, me.
I don't know what happened to Zoom there.
G is the one. The one Chi.
Then you +8. That's the.
Oh, so that's how I show up.
Yeah.
Today. Never before, Chi. Never before.
This is the first time he's 1 + 8.
But
It's almost like his name would be in Danish T, but it's only 9. It's neat. So it should be 1 + 9.
I don't know, maybe I have to sign in to Zoom again.
It's fine, I said to you. You gave us a bit of a giggle and a mystery.
Well, it's like a part of it, like awareness, right? It's like and it's like, so I was like, that's Chi. But then it was like, no, it's like, it may not be, right? It's like, there's other things. It's like, this could be like somebody we don't know, right? And so, but it was like, oh, do I accept it or not? Accept.
Yes. New beginning. Like, I saw your YouTube channel is changed name to Fireside Daily.
Then do you like it?
Yeah,
You came up
absolutely.
with it. You came up with it. I think. I mean, you were Heinz. It was like you kept saying it. It's like, oh, I like that.
Campfire talk, yeah.
It fits for this. Yeah.
Taylor's loves the name.
Fire is also a creator. It may not, people would say, hey, it's a consumer. No, it creates light and heat. It depends on which way you look at the fire.
Like Germany, the word in German, it means the people of fire, people of the torch. Deutschland, it means the torchland, So it's the people who will carry the torch, carry the truth.
I didn't know that, Chief. Thank you for that.
So yeah, fire.
Deutschland.
Yeah, Deutsch. But it comes from Torchland. And then through times it went to Deutschland. So the T and the D is interchangeable.
Yeah, language has been changed many times over. Even Old English sounds way more different than New English.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even English like 40, 50 years ago has changed a lot for what we have now.
Yeah.
Now we have
Like,
now we have
I mean,
English.
my grammar is bloody terrible. It's changed from what we have now. Is that even correct grammar? Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, just
Like
related to
Jesus
fire.
said, it's not about the words we say, it's about the feeling we give off when we say it.
Yeah, I was listening since Pascal was here.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yeah. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh,
You
I
did
joined
not
to say hello.
interrupt.
Oh, interruption.
You added.
Yeah.
Just love the energy in here.
The more the merrier.
Mm.
It's good to have all 9 of you here, Chi.
1+8.
Yeah. Oh, Jesse, the new YouTube icon looks great. That's so cool.
Yes, I like it too. Yeah. The logo and everything, and yeah, the words that Jesse put in the description sums it all up, and yeah, very nicely what we are doing here. Yeah.
I really want. I can see how, this has been. We're getting close to 2 years now. You've been doing this consistently, Jesse, and I can see this. Like you started this, and I can see this growing, like you say, into a global, like fireside group of fireside chats, a community of people who just want to start their day off in a good state and shift their day. And when one person shifts their day, maybe it'll have a positive impact on another person. And then you get a few people together who start their day off intentionally.
With only a word.
Yeah.
Like that's all it takes. It's like, a word, and it's like and it seems like we can only hold it for 24 hours, right? And then like we need to regroup again and like start again. So that's why it's like always a end and reset cycle. And boy, can I tell you, it goes so much faster with others.
Mm.
The breakthroughs are bigger. They're faster. Why? Because it's like it affects more than just the one, right? If we do it alone, it's like, first of all, when we do it alone, the ego is still in the way because we really can't get around it ourselves. So we can't see behind our own conditioning. That's the truth of it.
Yeah. It's the same with you when you walk in a room, full of people with negative energy. You come out with negative energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had a realization that the equivalent of alone is stuck. It's like a prison, like they put, in prisons, they put people in solitary confinement. You're stuck in there. Like you're alone.
Yep.
You aren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
being alone can be like a prison for your mind.
And we're more and more isolating ourselves.
And to make positive impact by opening this possibility more and more to others.
That's right.
To join this.
And it's like, it's like to open up your inside. That's all it is. Like, open up inside.
Open up to wonder.
That's right. To the emotions, like all emotions, just as because the emotions are the charge. And it's not the words that we call them, like how we name them. It's not the words, it's our meaning we have attached to the words.
Feeling.
That's right. And that's why, like, working together is like somebody will say something and it'll jab me, it'll catch me, it's a barb, and it's like, oh my goodness, it's not what you said, but it's how how I responded to it. It's like, oh, that's mine. And when we listen very carefully, we begin to hear each other's. That's the breakthrough. But it has to be done a certain way. I can't tell you how to do it. I can't tell you what's wrong. That there's just certain things that don't help.
Yep.
We're not trying to add bars to the jails. We're trying to remove them. I was talking about this yesterday. It's like, think about it. It's like we've gone for, we'll go for an hour and a half today at least, right? So that's an hour and a half every day. Yeah. What's that? That 10 hours? 10 hours a week? And if you were, let's just say you paid for a coaching program, that there's plenty of them out there, right? How often do you get to speak with a head person, like have an intimate relationship with them? How often do you get to do that in a week? Probably once. 1 hour. You get 1 hour. So by being here, you get 10 times just in 1 week.
Insane value.
Right? We were doing the math, and it's like it was like we are coming up on 2 years, so it's like 2 years is equal to 21 years of the old way. So you would have been paying 21 years, right, to be part of that program. Now, of course, that's saying the content's all the same. That means the value's all the same. That, like, this is free. I'm not saying that. What I'm doing is that I'm not satisfied. I don't like the current structure, and let's change it.
Yep.
Let's increase their cost by doing something different. Now, could we become the most subscribed, the most seen, the most played, the most amount of consumed time on this platform? That would be pretty cool if we did.
And it doesn't matter, actually.
Not at all.
Yeah.
But it just means that more hearts are being impacted positively.
Yes.
That's what matters about it, Allison.
Yes, absolutely. That there's more opportunity, but we can very quickly fall into that trap of we're the most.
That's right.
Or we're the biggest.
At the same time, it allows others to create platforms like it.
But exactly, that's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
with a group of like-minded.
Yep.
It's helping each other, serving
Definitely.
each other. It's just a demonstration of what's possible, that something different can work.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
isn't
Like we created a formula
Hmm.
for a group that worked together.
And it's not something new we created. It's just new that it's online, but campfire talks has existed for
Mhm.
thousands of years. It was
Exactly.
the natural state before.
It
Yeah.
was.
Everything
That's why.
became materialistic.
Oh,
It's
sorry, guys.
those stories have been carried through the fire.
Yeah.
That's a
If
good
you
one
think, I
too.
mean, a campfire was all the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it's like been
Yeah.
around what for 10,000 years that we've been able to control it. Wow.
And it's what
That,
most people need in this world. A
that's
place to be
exactly.
vulnerable and someone to talk with.
That's
Yeah.
right. Now, the fire
Connection.
in our, like, the fire is the passion, right? It's the
Yeah.
emotion. It's the love, the joy for life. Like that's what the fire is here. That's what it represents. That's the metaphor.
I was thinking now with, with about what it is that we've learned and that we work with. And we were talking earlier today about structure, and then Will brought paradigm in. And for me, those two words are interchangeable, but structure, there was something very grounding for me about my attention being brought to structure as opposed to paradigm, and I'm not sure why that is, but that's what it did. And it's the interesting thing for me was that I learned about paradigm quite early on in my life. So learning about structure in the last third of my life, I would say, and the renewal that it brought for me, I guess my hope is that it does something similar. It doesn't have to do the same at all, but just to realize that we can choose our coordinates. I think that was what was different for me from paradigm. Like my first introduction to paradigm was Eastern philosophy. That's where I started to realize this is a very different way of thinking about life and about what we are. So it was, I guess, still something from the outside, even though the teaching is that is internal, and that your work is to work the internal, and by doing that, the external changes, as Will said earlier. So I guess in summary, then I would say it was realizing that I could choose what I wanted to be part of that structure, even though the learning that I borrowed was that there's a big difference between having a closed and oscillating structure as opposed to an open and creative structure.
Flowing structure, right?
Yeah.
Like, to me, I did put it in the chat, but just to say it out loud, in my experience, a paradigm is a type of structure, but it's really more of a cage and a prison for our mind. So Bob Proctor used to always use that term, like the paradigm that is created in children, right? We create this paradigm, and it becomes a prison. It's like a box that, for me, metaphorically, to me, it's like we're in not a concrete prison, but like bricks. Like, we're surrounded by bricks on all 6 sides. It's a box we're in. And when you start to maybe chip away at one brick, you're questioning things, you're searching, you're open to the possibility of something different outside of this paradigm, because this paradigm, after a while, gets really uncomfortable because it's a prison. And so when you start to chip away at one brick, eventually you might start to wear through that one brick, and a bit of light starts to shine into that prison or that box. And you start to wake up to different possibilities
and different paradigms.
Exactly. It's like there's a whole other world out there.
Yeah.
I'm in this box, this prison that you can point the finger elsewhere, but really I created it.
Yeah.
And when the light starts to shine in and you start to chip away at the bricks, then you start to open to the possibility of freedom.
And co-creation.
And a flowing structure rather than a box.
It's because we're often taught as children to build our walls to protect ourselves. But we didn't realize the wall doesn't only protect us, it also becomes our prison.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like, how many of us as children, our parents would bring a box or multiple boxes home, and we would make toys. Those were the best toys on the planet, because, I'm going to make a fort out of boxes, so I'm going to go hide in this box. And then we end up doing that in our minds for the rest of our lives. It's like there's far more possibilities available than just being inside this box.
And yet that was the first step to concrete creativity, right?
Yeah, I guess so. It could, and that box could be a TARDIS.
Absolutely.
It could transport us to other possibilities. It could be just a stepping stone.
It was anything and everything we wanted it to be.
Because really everything is time and relative dimension and space.
Yep.
My inner nerd is coming out now.
It's all about how we perceive it.
Yes.
So it was like, as I think of like, what is a paradigm for me, right? So there's a word, and it's like, what do I think of it? And like how I do that is like, okay, what other words would I associate with that?
Yeah.
So it just gives me some more flavor around it, right? And so one of the words that came to mind was like a miracle, like a paradigm shift. How I realize that is like the paradigm shift happens after my insight. Like after I see my structure that I've been holding so tightly to, it's like I'm aware of it, and it's like, wow, it's like I didn't see that before. right? It's just a paradigm is something I didn't see before. In a way, it's like a miracle, right? So what's the structure of a miracle? We didn't think it could happen and it happened.
Yes.
Weird. Yet they do happen. And like why? And we're still surprised with miracles. We want them, but we're not willing to look at them. We're not willing to look at the structure, like because it's all in the structure of why I don't have more miracles.
And so we don't have enough willingness to wonder.
That's right. And that's why, Will, you said the defenses. We put the no's have built the bricks, the pain, the suffering. Like we went. It was like the monkeys, right? The monkeys went for what they wanted. They wanted out of that cage, and they got sprayed with water. Look, they just got sprayed with water. What if they would have kept going?
It's not the end of the world,
right?
Well, it was a little bit cold, but so what?
Right.
It was fun. Scary, but fun.
Yeah, but it was just water.
Yeah.
So it's like not looking at what it is, we were looking at what it is. Now, not like what it is, but we're looking at what I made up it is. Oh, there's the contrast, the difference, the space.
Yeah.
And so it's like gathering in wonder, we're equal. And then the second thing is like we're all genius, which means we all have a passion. Like our genius is located in our passion. So that's to the question is like, who are we, Allison?
And what are we?
And what are we?
Yeah.
Super conscious.
Like, yes. Divinity.
That's who we really are.
Divinity. Love. Yeah, like there's all sorts of things we could say.
And what's the structure of super conscious?
My impulse is to say good luck with defining that.
Our thoughts and memories play such a big role in everything that we do.
Yeah.
It's just, we call it time, but what it is really thoughts and memory.
I think the structure of consciousness is a light show. It's like the Northern Lights. That for me, that's what the structure of consciousness would be.
Yes, and
correct.
Have any of you ever seen Kirlian photography?
Yes.
So you know what I'm talking about then when you could see the energetic structure of living things in a photo.
Yes.
So that's really revealing the actual energetic structure of living things in the photo.
Yeah.
And to me, this is just my perspective, my experience. That's super conscious.
Yes.
When you make the invisible visible, it's a manifestation of energetic field structures. And we are an energetic field structure. The earth is, the sun is, the solar system is, the universe is a infinitely large superstructure of superconscious energy. That's just my meditation and perspective.
It's beautiful. Well, I love it.
Yeah. And then you go down to the infinitely small, it's the same thing. And our bodies are made up of trillions of cells. And our individual consciousness is doing their thing
Yeah.
based on the programming of the structure, the coding, the DNA, the RNA coding, etc.
And new cells get born every day and old cells die every day. And the body continues to work.
We're all cells in the collective consciousness of humankind. And we're all connected energetically to this planet.
Yeah.
Life is absolutely insanely fascinating, like interesting choice of words, but you get the idea. Like when you really get still with
Yeah.
our existence and our ability to comprehend reality, it's good that our minds are blown when you actually get still with it.
Yes. And what I was thinking now too was, I was asking myself, so what is it about being still? And so what came to me was we then become a bit of a contrast to the movement. So we can see the movement because we're still.
So, so that was like a mindgasm. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I have a few vivid memories, and I'm sorry, I really am sorry to break the silence, but I got memories of myself standing on top of the stairs in my old house and just having this surge of panic starting. And I would just be able to say to myself, take 30 seconds, go quiet, just go quiet, let it be. Just let it be. There'll be another way.
You just whispered words of wisdom.
Well, it seems as if our time to scatter.
Hmm.
What's the word of the day, guys?
Good catch, Will.
Mine would be let it be.
Mm.
A couple hours ago, I was going to go with intuition. And after that conversation, I'm like, no, it's structure. I want structure today. That's my word of the day.
Hmm. I love that.
Yeah, mine will be recap.
Recap?
Yeah.
Nice one.
And I'm still hanging in passionately purposeful.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Jesse, remember to save the chat. There's some nice things in the chat.
I will try.
My word will be enjoy.
Joy.
In Will, are you able to save the chat?
I'm on my phone.
That's what I'm at too. That's what I'm at too. So,
Yeah, it's difficult. I don't know how to do it on the phone. If anybody finds out, let me know.
I could post a few of those photos that I posted in the Facebook chat, if you like, Allison.
It's fine. I just thought sometimes it's nice to, also
you know what?
keep the chat, what people have said. So it's okay.
I could even do a screenshot of the chat if you're okay with that, Jesse, and share that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you, Will. Great. That's great.
Do you want the whole chat screenshot?
If you can.
Sure. Do that right now.
And just to say that Kayla's wanted to join this morning. She had a bad night last night, so she had to go back to sleep. But she hopes to be back soon.
Thank you.
That right now in the.
You got it all, Will?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I'll post it right now.
Wonderful.
Thanks, Will. Thanks, Heinz. 1 + 8.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
You all have a pleasant day.
So much. Yeah. Have a wonderful day.
Wonderful morning. Thank you, Jess. Bye for now.
Have a hug.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye all.
Bye, guys.